Browns fans, are you ready to take your fandom on the road? Join True Fan Travel, an official fan experience partner of the Cleveland Browns, and travel with other Browns fans like never before. Everything is taken care of. Flights, hotels, tailgate, game tickets, transportation, food, drinks, everything that's important to Browns fans. Each trip will also include an exclusive meet and greet with former Browns players. Visit TrueFanTravel.com today and reserve your ultimate Browns travel package.
For the Burning River Sportscast. The rosters are set. Training camp has concluded. The preseason is over. All that's left now is to put up or shut up as the 2024 season has officially arrived. From the shores of Lake Erie on a beautiful Sunday afternoon, featuring a showdown of epic proportions in a Week 1 matchup, Browns, Cowboys, the talk is over. Can the Browns build off the momentum of last year's improbable playoff run? Will Jim Schwartz be able to slow down Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb? And can the Browns leverage their weapons in a potential shootout with America's team? We should have a pretty good idea Sunday night after a consequential litmus test to see whether the Browns are contenders or pretenders. The field is ready. The Browns are ready. Them boys are ready. Tom Brady is ready. Are you? We'll break it all down for you next on the Burning River Sportscast.
No kidding, in the background, this cow mounts another cow and just starts going to town. Did you see that?
Ronnie has Myles Garrett as his player to watch this week. He mailed it in. As he mails in everything. I mean, you can't go to the Muni lot and not drink from 7 a.m. to noon.
Oh, yeah. You have to.
You have to.
Yeah.
It's why I don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
My body can't do it.
Any particular challenges that you're a little wary of?
Let's see. Deshaun Watson. We'll start with that one.
Dustin Hopkins, game-winning field goal.
This thing is going to be lit.
Like hot cider, or is just any cider?
I love it all.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll drink like a gallon of it in a sitting and then shit for 3 straight days. Do you remember Sinbad playing a genie in a comedy called like Shazam or Kazam?
Yes.
When we were little?
Yes.
Okay, well, that never happened.
Huh?
Never happened. He never was in a movie called Shazam, was never a genie. Didn't happen. But like, you vividly remember it, don't you?
Was it a television show?
It was not. It didn't exist.
Are you sure? Was it a cartoon?
This is the Mandela effect. Like, I Googled this girl to the nth degree because I was like, who is this like kind of hot, weird looking chick? And excuse me.
Oh yeah, let it out.
That was embarrassing. And then that's why I'm not on the real radio.
And you bite into it and it's all kind of soft and mushy.
Welcome into the Burning River Sportscast presented by the fine folks at Tappan Media. I'm Kenny Thunder. The elephant not in the room today is Red Hot Ronnie Jams. That's right, someone at Tappan Media approved his PTO for Week 1 of the NFL season. Alas, I do have the pleasure, nay the privilege, of being joined here today by the man who never needed a guardian cap, given the density of his natural skull, our very own Bone Man. Bone, obviously you're a happily married middle-aged man.
Yes.
But if you lived in an alternate reality and never met your wife and had to marry one random celebrity, any celebrity in the world, who is it and why would it be Avril Lavigne?
You're just naming her for me? All right, we have a long history, or I have a long history of
You and Avril?
Of a crush on Avril. Yeah, it goes back a while, which you're well aware of. You'll randomly send me Avril clips or pictures. Like, she's never aged.
she doesn't age. She's aging like a fine wine. Avril Lavigne.
Punk rock lives on.
He was a skater boy. She says, see you later, boy. As always, if you're looking for the dopest dope you ever heard on a podcast, as well as the unofficial podcast of Cleveland Browns backers everywhere, you can find our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. That would be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Castro, Good Pods, and so many more. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, the only place you can find our video podcast. And check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Our handle for all of those socials is at Burning River Sportscast. And we are on X, the artist, formerly known as Twitter, as well, with the handle at Burning River Pod. While you're at it, check out our merch at www.thetapinmedia.com/shop. We've got all kinds of stuff in there. River gear, Chubline, Brook Park, Browns gears. Looking forward to the move. And then today on the show, this is what you can look forward to. We will have a week 1 preview, do our hot 3, interview with the Dallas area Browns backers, King of the North gassed up, and so much more. So shut off the AC and turn up the heat, because without Red Outrunning Jams in the house, it's freezing in this bitch. We'll do what we can in his stead, and we'll get started with the Burning River News Story of the Week. All right, week 1 of the NFL season is upon us, and so naturally, there's news. The NFL has a 2-night preview set up. On Thursday night, we have the Baltimore Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship rematch from last year. But we're dealt a treat this year on Friday, where we have a second game. Unfortunately, this game is on Peacock only. So
that's one of those, huh?
A little annoyed about that, because I don't know how I'm going to...
Do you have it?
Take that in. Peacock's like the one streaming service I don't have.
Okay.
And I just I have so many others. I'm like, am I seriously going to have to get Peacock too? So
just add one more, man.
Anyways, the Peacock game is the Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles. And what's special about this game is that this game is in Brazil.
That is special.
Sao Paulo. And this has been getting some decent run. There was news earlier in the year, honestly, that the Browns might have been levied for this matchup, but ultimately we were not picked. It is Green Bay and Philadelphia. But as teams are gearing up for this face-off in Brazil, many players have expressed safety concerns. Since this is the first ever game in South America, it seems that both teams have met with the league's security team, which has given them a list of do's and don'ts while they're in Sao Paulo. Green Bay cornerback Eric Stokes said leaving the hotel is definitely not advised. When asked his opinion on playing in Brazil, Eagles wide receiver Devonta Smith said, no comment. Eagles cornerback Darius Slay says, flat out, I do not want to go to Brazil, and you want to know why? I'm here to tell you why. They already told us not to leave the hotel. They told us we can't do too much because the crime rate is crazy. And I'm like, NFL, why do you want to see us somewhere where the crime rate is this high? I told my family, do not come down there. AJ Brown added, I'm just going down there, win a football game, and come back home. That's the best way I can put it. Things that we would normally do there, even as simple as walking down the street with your phone in your hand and stuff like that, it's crazy. So begs to ask a couple of questions. I mean, is this overblown, or are these guys freaking out over nothing? It's obviously, again, new precedent for the NFL to be in South America. If you look at crime statistics, it's true. If you look during the 2014 World Cup, there were 580 people killed in Rio. Brazil's murder rate is over 4 times higher than that of the United States. And crime after the Olympic Games also spiked. So clearly there's some concerns there. But that being said, if you break the numbers out a little bit, there's a site that's a popular survey site that assesses crime indexes called Numbeo. And they basically were able to do city-by-city comparisons of different levels of crime and things. So if you look at this breakdown, it's actually like if you look at Sao Paulo versus Philadelphia, the crime rates really are not that far off. If you look at the 13 or so metrics that they assessed here, there's
there's a lot of them here.
There's
worries, home broken and things stolen. Worries being insulted. Worries attack. Worries things from car stolen.
Even just the initial question is just level of crime. So Sao Paulo gets an 83rd percentile, very high mark, but Philadelphia, not to be outdone, is following up with a 78.59. So when you think about just overall level of crime, there's high and very high, but those numbers
within
are
5-6
far
points
off,
there,
right? In fact, in Sao Paulo, it seems like the discriminatory factor is actually on the low end. So when you think about physical attacks because of skin color, ethnic origin, gender, or religion, they only score in the 28th percentile versus Philadelphia at the 46th percentile. So all told, these crime rates, if you look at the indexes here, are relatively similar. And even if you look at London versus Sao Paulo, if you look, break down the numbers, level of crime, London scores in the 64th percentile. Again, Sao Paulo 83rd. Yeah. But again,
they've played in London the last few years, haven't they?
Right. You figure the NFL's had a love affair with London for a long time. They love going to play at Wembley. They love the phone booths and the British food and all the stuff that they get, photo ops for players to do. But again, just kind of comparing the cities that we've gone to or that even we play in. Let's not forget Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who, had comments about the wildfires in Brazil and safety concerns, had his car stolen after a playoff win against the Giants in Philadelphia.
Wow. Very nice.
And again, London is another renowned hotspot for crime, yet the NFL continues to host international games there on a yearly basis. So again, the data breaks out to where these cities are relatively similar. I think the main difference that you really get between like a London and a Philly and Sao Paulo is just the wealth gap.
Sure.
The Brazilian currency, I think it's the real, is about 18 cents to the dollar in U.S. dollars. So I think the bigger concern is not so much like there's rampant crime, but if you have NFL players, millionaires walking around, and these guys, let's face it, they look like millionaires, right?
Yeah, they're going to be targets.
Chains, they got tattoos, they're wearing nice clothes.
They know they're in town.
Probably renting nice cars while they're there, or they're traveling with an entourage. So they stick out like a sore thumb, which makes them a target maybe more so than in other countries. But all that to say, the city of Sao Paulo has heard the concerns and is tightening security ahead of their first NFL game. The Brazilian state said that they would delegate specialized civil and military police battalions to reinforce security during the game and place officers on streets, trains, subway stations, hotels, tourist attractions, including sweeps at the airport, hotels, training sites, and the stadium. So it looks like they're at least aware that the concerns are out there. And I guess just for the safety of everybody involved, we hope this goes off without a hitch. Sure. But it's one of those things where it's like, if something bad does happen, the NFL looks really bad coming out of this, that these guys had these concerns coming in. And it's not like you didn't know that this place had its warts. But again, are they really any worse than the average American city in terms of crime rates?
Sure.
That's kind of debatable. So, what's is it Ricky Parasol was just mugged and shot walking down the streets of San Francisco. So
who is that? San Francisco? Yeah, that rookie or whatever.
Their rookie wide receiver. I mean, he's going to miss the first 4 weeks.
That's
just
crazy.
Shot through the chest, just on the street, walking around down there. So, I would say like it seems like maybe some of the hype and the concern is overblown a tad. But again, we fingers crossed hope nothing bad happens, because that would be a really bad look for the NFL.
Yeah.
And for the safety of everyone involved.
The players are down there to play a football game. They're not like going to an all-inclusive resort. I mean, I'm sure they're staying at a nice place, but it just makes me think of like when you do go out of the country, you're usually told like stay on the resort, don't travel too far off, the beaten path.
And that's true.
And I feel like it's the same
Mexico
here.
or the Caribbean, they kind of advise hey, do the things you're there to do and come home.
I'm sure they're already there. Are they already there?
I think they were traveling on Wednesday for the game Friday. So they'll be en route shortly. But Yeah, I don't know. It just it's one of those wrinkles that comes with trying to grow the game. It sounds like there's a really large contingent of Philadelphia fans in this area, Brazil in general. I know there's some issues too with like the colors because there's like, I don't know, either rival street gangs or rivalries between soccer teams that get super bloody and wild out there that wear green.
Okay.
So like
both teams have green.
Both teams have green. Yeah. So I think Philadelphia is wearing their black on white combo, but Green Bay doesn't really have any choice but to wear green. So, but they kind of said like you won't necessarily get beat up for wearing like a Green Bay jersey, but like you definitely wouldn't get beat up if you were wearing a Cowboys jersey.
Sure.
So you take your chances.
Yeah, maybe different teams would have been appropriate.
But all that to say, good luck to everybody involved, and hopefully nothing bad happens, because if it does, they probably won't be playing any games in Brazil anytime soon.
Yeah, might be one and done.
On that, quick note, couple of quick notes, personal notes on the program. One, I have to debase myself here. Not debase myself, but I have to make an apology to Red Hot Ronnie James.
The Red Hot Ronnie James?
The Red Hot Ronnie James. I was wrong on last week's show. And on this show, we like to own up to our mistakes.
Sure. Yeah.
Not too proud to be accountable for the things that I've said. When talking about Miami and their record in the cold. I went back and misremembered that. They're like 0-10 in their last like games below 40 degrees.
Oh, really?
Tua is like 0-3 in his career.
Yeah.
They're just their record in cold weather games is abysmal, and he was right. I was wrong. So I'm here to just lay it out there that I had a bad take. And I own that. So my apologies to Red Hot Ronnie James, who's not here today.
Man, he's gonna love hearing this, and it's recorded for everybody to hear.
It's recorded forever, recorded forever on the Burning River Sportscast. And then also a more somber note, I just wanted to take a moment to recognize Jim Donovan. The news Jim Donovan broke last week shortly after our show, so we didn't get a chance to touch on Jim Donovan stepping down this season, stepping out of this season as the Browns MC and radio host, play-by-play guy. It's one of those things where when you heard the news, obviously I think all of our minds went and hearts went out to Jim and his family, just knowing how difficult the situation must be at this point for him.
Sure.
But just nobody better in the business. I mean, when you turn on the radio and you hear Jim Donovan's voice, it's football season. Yeah. It's Browns season. There will never be another like him. I'm getting teary-eyed right now just thinking about just the last 20 years of radio, how fortunate we were to have Jim Donovan here in Cleveland. And I'm just sad. It's like you get older and you have family members and friends that are personally affected by awful disease like this. Just brings it home, makes it really real. And you think these guys are going to just do their job forever because they're so good at it. And Jim's one of the best.
Yeah.
So it's just sad for him. Sad to see him go. At least he kind of got to go out on a good note with the Browns in the playoffs last year. Going to the playoffs. So we'll always remember those calls. But just wanted to say that about Jimmy D.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, that'll bring us to the Nick Chubb football giveaway for the second offseason in a row. We're giving away some autographed Browns memorabilia. This year, Nick Chubb autographed football. This one right here on our desk. The winner will be chosen from our YouTube subscribers. There are other ways you can earn bonus entries. Head to our socials and keep an eye out for more information on how to earn those entries. But the big thing is you have to be subscribed on YouTube in order to have a chance to win. So there's a link in the show notes, or just use the show handle at Burning River Sportscast on YouTube to find us. We're running out of days here. This thing's going to be picked this weekend. So if you're interested in the Nick Chubb autographed football, Batman football here, get on YouTube. Make sure you're following us there, because that is where we will pull the winner from.
Yeah, give yourself a chance.
Give yourself a chance. So one last thing before we get to the Browns. Let me remind you to call the Burning River Sportscast Hot Take Hotline. Don't forget to call and leave your hot takes on the Hot Take Hotline. Remember, these are hot takes. We want hot takes. We want hot takes.
We want hot takes.
We want hot
takes.
330-227-8080.
330-227-8080.
330-227-8080. Call now. Operators are not standing
There's
by.
nobody there. But make a call.
Make the call. We want to hear from you. And that will bring us to the Week 1 preview brought to you by True Fan Travel. Football's back. Football's back.
I'm so excited. I can't wait for Thursday night's game.
I guess. Same. I am just super excited for this. I can't think of an NFL season where I've been more excited. It feels like this offseason was so long.
It took forever.
Just dragged on.
Time slowed down.
Thank goodness college football came back like a week and a half ago. So we've at least had that. But this week we have the Dallas Cowboys. So real quick here, we do have some just cliff notes here on the opposition in terms of the Cowboys as a whole. We've got a head coach without a contract, a perennial all-pro quarterback without a contract, CeeDee Lamb, who hasn't practiced much due to contract dispute and is in fact on the reserve exempt list, granted a special 2-game exemption, which we don't know whether that means he'll play or not.
Might play, might not play.
Might not play. Obviously, it would be huge if he does not play. You look at their offensive line, they got a couple of really good veteran guards, but they're starting a rookie at left tackle, a rookie at center, and they have a right tackle coming off of an injury. Washed up running back room led by Zeke, a couple other journeymen. Dalvin Cook's on the roster, but technically still on the practice squad. So he's another one that could be activated before Sunday, but as of right now is not on the active roster. Across the defense, Trayvon Diggs and Micah Parsons, your playmakers there. They bolstered that linebacker room with Eric Kendricks in the offseason, who's a nice addition, but not necessarily a showstopper. And then Aubrey and Anger round out an otherwise solid special teams room. So, given that, we'll jump right into just the matchups that matter, starting with Myles Garrett versus Tyler Guyton. Tyler Guyton was the left tackle. Pretty much as soon as he was drafted, there was talk about his welcome to the NFL moment being Week 1 versus Myles Garrett. In the first start of his career, that's an unfortunate assignment.
Yeah, let's get a highlight tape going.
But
for Myles,
we've also seen, for sure, Defensive Player of the Year again. We've also seen Garrett, though, in this Jim Schwartz offense, in this Jim Schwartz front, move quite a bit. So it's not out of the realm possibility that he may face some matchups against Terrence Steele, who had a down year last year, coming off an injury at the end of last season. And Myles Garrett is a fully healthy beast coming into the season. Yeah. So I think the question is not if Myles will get home, but how many times. Could be a multi-sack day, like a 3-4 sack day for Myles if things go our way. And not to mention Dak Prescott, for all the accolades, continues to be mostly overrated in terms of not accomplishing much. He puts up big numbers every year, but this team has just been an absolute disappointment, really since '95. I mean,
they're not winning the big games.
Run, so I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on Myles Garrett versus the rookie there?
I'm excited. I mean, the first time he gets a sack or pressure or whatever, the stadium's going to go nuts. I mean, because there's already high expectations for our defense. So Myles getting to the quarterback, going against a rookie left tackle.
I mean, you almost couldn't hope for any better matchup, right, for Myles in Week 1 than to play a guy that's never taken a snap in the NFL.
Yeah, of course. And not to mention the other pressures they're going to be bringing around the edge. So We got multiple guys that can do it.
That's the thing, man. That defensive front with, it's like Zadarius Smith is on this team.
Yeah.
It's like no one even cares because it's Myles Garrett.
Right.
But like Myles is sure going to draw double teams.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to have to. I mean, Myles gets triple teamed at times because he's so dominant. And guys like Zadarius are going to find holes.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to get home. And not to mention the guys you have even in the middle there, Mo Hurst and those guys. I mean, that is a mean defensive front. But yeah, Myles should wreak some havoc, I think, Sunday afternoon come 4:30.
It's going to be loud. Stadium's going to be loud.
Yeah, I kind of wish I was going to the game just to be a part of the game atmosphere. I mean,
week one versus the Cowboys, man, those tickets got to be pricey secondhand there.
And the weather actually is going to break a little bit. It's been hot here in Ohio for the last few weeks. But this weekend's forecast is calling for temperatures in the 60s.
Yeah, Saturday's like a high of 61 or something wild like that.
It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be sunny and 65. Beautiful football weather. That stadium is going to be packed. Just absolutely a shit show inside of that place.
I'm coming. I'm excited. It's a 4 o'clock start. I have a wedding on Saturday, so I'll be preparing.
What time's the wedding?
On Saturday?
Yeah. Oh.
It's Saturday, so going into exactly because we're going to be up in Cleveland, in the morning and then driving home. But just recovery time, get ready for the Browns game.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's critical. You need the few extra hours there to not have to wake up and get moving with your life. Open bar for this thing?
I believe so.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, it's just coming up to the end of wedding season here, so that'll be again, the weather's supposed to be perfect for that sort of thing this weekend. So, excuse me. All right, moving on to Micah Parsons versus some formulation of our line.
Who's it going to be?
Jed Wills, Jack Conklin, DeJuan Jones. Jed Wills did practice this week, so it's the first time he's practiced, and Kevin Stefanski has said it's possible he could play, but was non-committal at whether or not Wills will start at left tackle if he's healthy. The word on the street for last week has been that Jack Conklin would start at left tackle if Wills is unable to go. Conklin, of course, the right tackle who played left tackle in college, but has played right tackle primarily in his NFL career. So that could be interesting just because you have a guy that's out of position or you have a guy that hasn't played a whole lot. And depending on whether Jed or Jack plays, you may end up with DeJuan Jones at right tackle. So I think we were all impressed with DeJuan last year in terms of just for a big guy, his size, being able to move and block and do everything that was asked of him. But he's also coming off an injury. So this game between Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons really has two front runners for Defensive Player of the Year already in week one, just on opposing sides of the field. Dude's a dominant defender. You look across that defensive front there, they have DeMarcus Lawrence, who's 32, best days probably behind him, but they do have a number of 330-pound defensive tackles there just ready to fill up that nose tackle front. But, yeah, I think the question is, and we just don't know, probably we won't know until maybe game time, is who's going to play and where. So the question is, will the Browns' offensive line be able to hold their own, or does Parsons have an outlook like Myles on Sunday?
I imagine they got a plan for Parsons. I'm hoping so. From what I've heard this week, DeJuan Jones has looked really good at right tackle, and Conklin has looked good at left. So they go against some real competition here. What's going to happen? So real test comes Sunday. But I would expect Parsons to get a sack or
it's almost inevitable, right? He's going to be in the backfield some way, somehow.
And just first game of the season, offenses tend to be a little, vanilla or just out of practice. Well, they haven't
played, right?
And the defenses seem to be able to just, start lighting things up. So.
Yeah, you can definitely play faster and looser on defense early in the season just because, honestly, the preseason doesn't exist anymore, right? So there's offenses that have timing components and complex, different schemes that they're trying to run aren't always super sharp for the first few weeks of the season. And Micah's a beast, man. There's not this was kind of a disappointing offseason, I think, for Cowboys fans, where they were expecting a lot of moves to be made in the free agency, and they made next to none, and instead chose to just use the draft to kind of try and backfill. This team looks worse on paper than it did last year, but Micah Parsons is one of those guys that is going to be a problem for teams all year long, regardless of who they play. I guess this will be the first test for our offensive line coach, Andy Dickerson. I guess we'll see what kind of schemes they can draw up to keep him out of Deshaun's face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, how much help are our backs going to be helping? Are they going to be chipping on them? What are they going to be doing? A
really good look at pass pro and what that max protect looks like right out the gate because he's a player.
Yeah.
And then Deshaun Watson versus this Cowboys defense. So Cowboys D ranked high last year, 5th in total defense, ranked 5th against the pass as well. So another name lurking out there, Malik Hooker, the old vet from Ohio State. They do have maybe some opportunities for the Browns in the red zone and on third downs, where last year they were ranked 19th in red zone defense and 14th on third down. So, given the wrinkles Kevin Stefanski likes to play with, and we know he likes to run his trick plays and things, we'll see what they can come up with. But across the board, like this defense, outside of Micah Parsons, outside of Malik Hooker, it's not like they got a bunch of guys out there that are really good. Deron Bland, who we'll talk about in the injury report real quick, but is another All-Pro, but he's out for a few weeks. He's in the injured reserve. So I would think that this offense, led by Deshaun, should line up rather well. Big question is whether or not Deshaun is healthy. According to Jeff Howe, The Athletic, this week he said that it sounds like things are exactly where Cleveland was hoping they would be. Quarterback Deshaun Watson is physically on pace where the Browns expected him to be following the displaced shoulder fracture. The question, though, is where his performance will be this season. It's been 4 years since Watson was viewed among the league's top quarterbacks, and the offense, sputtered a bit this summer. So, what's this offense going to do? Can Watson keep the Browns in third manageable or better situations? Can we keep the ball moving and come up with opportunities in the red zone? Or does look like the guy that's been throwing the ball to the wrong team and fumbling balls in the backfield and making poor decisions for the last couple of years?
I'm just hoping Stefanski can do some wonders with them, because it seems like he can do that with any other quarterback except Deshaun so far. So it's just like he's done it with so many different guys and has made so many different quarterbacks look good, or he's protected them in a certain way. Maybe besides DTR against the Ravens last year, but that was just a crazy situation.
Deshaun's easily the most talented.
Oh, without a doubt.
He's ever had the chance to work with.
Yeah, hasn't shined.
And he can't, to this point has been nothing but disappointment. I mean, this year is so critical for Deshaun because if he gets back to form, you go, okay, he's only 28, and he could be the quarterback here for the next 5-10 years. Perfect. If he looks bad again, this trade is going to go down in NFL history as one of the worst maybe ever.
The worst ever. Especially just with the situation around the trade and the accusations and everything.
And just what they gave up to get him, too. Yeah. I mean, we talk about the money a lot because that's huge and it was unprecedented at the time. But think about the draft picks that you lost and the opportunity for this team to get better around the quarterback position.
And who those draft picks turned into for Houston.
Right. I mean, that you don't have. So, and Houston's got the Baker Mayfield thing where, like, these guys that they've drafted are coming up now and making you look bad because they've drafted some players and that team is going to be good, looks like, for the next decade. I think as someone who was not overly excited when Deshaun landed here and someone who has watched Deshaun not be the quarterback that we saw in Houston for his entirety of his tenure here in Cleveland, I am optimistic but skeptical
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping for the best, but I mean, man, I was just watching some of these plays again from like last season, and granted, he'd only played in a few games, but I mean, there were some mistakes that this guy made that were like Brandon Whedon bad. I mean, there was a one where he was being chased in the backfield and just threw the ball underhanded to nobody, and I'm like, that's not a decision an NFL quarterback makes.
Exactly.
And that's what's so frustrating about it, because this was a guy that was a passing leader in the NFL.
Yeah.
And here he is throwing the ball to nobody, or throwing the ball to guys in the wrong jersey. It doesn't make any sense.
The optimism, skepticism, it's like I believe his official record last year was 5-1, right? Like he won games he was in, but the eye test, he didn't pass it. Yeah. I feel like the team won in spite. Exactly. And I feel most people would agree with that. But you still look at the record, you're like, well, I guess Stefanski did something there. Like he worked some type of magic, or Schwartz did on defense, because we won some games with them.
For sure. And again, the frustrating thing is, like, he is only 28.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, if he can get this right, this would be the best quarterback you've had since the team rebirthed in 99. If he can get fixed.
Yeah. I mean, my hope is last year maybe he never felt right. Maybe from the get-go he felt off, or maybe we would hear about that if there was an injury or something, but maybe he just never felt right because of the time off and this and that and time in a new system and whatever it is. It's like now we have another full year. We have another
concern is that it's the Tiger Woods effect.
Yeah.
You know, it's to the point where, look, and I know he did it all to himself, and he should have made better decisions, and we're not going to relitigate all those cases. But on a personal note, just putting yourself in anybody's shoes that gets caught doing something wrong.
Yeah.
When up until that point, I mean, you could do no wrong. I mean, he was a face of the NFL. He was beloved in Houston.
Clean record.
Seemed like a really good guy. And to have that all come crashing down on you overnight. And there are people on this planet, and again, not that's wrong, but that just don't like him and will never will, just given the circumstances. So I think that's a hard thing to grapple with. Mm-hmm. I mean, even we saw LeBron struggle at times. I
was thinking the same thing.
Playing the villain, you know, it's like it's not as easy as it sounds for these guys that are top tier athletes to just keep playing through it, because so much of these games at this level, whether it's golf, basketball, football, it truly is mental.
Oh, yeah.
And like, if you're not, it's not even that you're not mentally tough. It's just that has the capacity to break you.
It's draining.
Mentally.
I mean,
to have to deal with it every day of your life, knowing that there are just people out there that just don't like you, people that are always going to be skeptical of you.
Yep.
And you go back to it too, and it's like, you're in the moment and you're Deshaun and all this stuff's going on. You don't think you're doing anything wrong. So it's even twice fold then when it comes out and they're like, oh, by the way, this guy's been running amok out there, just creating problems. And so that's my biggest fear, is that, like, it's not a talent thing, it's not an athletic thing, it's not a health thing. It's can you overcome what happened to you?
Yeah.
And I think it's hard for guys to do.
I think your confidence can be shot. You can lose it.
100%.
You know, it's not easy to get back. And he may have been there. I think he was there. And maybe he still is. I don't know.
And that's what I mean.
I hope that's not the case.
When you see the guy throw the ball backwards underhand, it's like, I don't have another explanation for that.
Yeah.
Like, there's no. I mean, some of the reads, it was like he was throwing a ball with his eyes closed.
Yeah.
And now he's a better player than that.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it in college. The dude was a baller. And you saw it in Houston. The dude was a baller.
He just needs to watch college film, for the next couple months.
Just
That's
build
it.
himself back up.
Don't watch any NFL film. Just build yourself
and
back
definitely
up.
don't read any social media.
Look what I used to do.
Yeah, there were some good moments in it.
Right.
So I guess the jury's still out there. I think we've been saying it all offseason, is what is Deshaun Watson best case scenario? What is Deshaun Watson worst case scenario? The good news is the wait's over, and we're about to find out. because it's a new year, it's a new season. The Cowboys are 0-0.
Yep.
Coming off another early playoff exit, coming in again with all the hype, being America's team, Jerry Jones, all this garbage.
America.
The Browns, it's just strength on strength here. Just lost one game at home all of last season. Feels like this season off season dragged on for the Browns for one reason or another. There wasn't a ton of negative news.
Yeah.
Most of the team is returning at all your critical positions. Feels like you got maybe a little better in the draft. Obviously you got the stuff here of late with Mike Hall, but he's on the commissioner's exempt list, so we won't even know what that looks like for a while. One thing that I found interesting is that it came out, they do every year around this time, we get the youngest roster in the NFL and the oldest roster in the NFL. And for years, we've been on the youngest roster side of the NFL.
Yeah.
Well, the Browns have officially become the second oldest roster in the NFL.
Wow, I didn't know that.
What's interesting is you start to break this down, and it's kind of like the crime statistics, right? It's like you can tell any story you want.
Yeah.
When you look at the average age of these teams, the Browns come in with an average age of 27.64 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So when you look at the youngest team in the NFL, it's usually 26 and a half years.
Within a point and a half.
They're within and it's guys like Joel Bitonio, Rodney McLeod that are in their 30s that kind of skew that one way or the other, because honestly, the Browns core, and they are getting older. I mean, guys like Miles and Denzel and Nick Chubb are getting older, but they're still in their late 20s.
Sure.
And they have a lot of young talent around them. So I don't know if this is super cause for concern. I just thought it was interesting because it's one of those stories that comes out and it's like, this is a veteran-laden team here in Cleveland. I'm like, last year we were the second youngest team in the NFL. It's just...
Wow, one year, yeah.
What a difference a year makes.
Turnaround.
Also of note, just going into this season, Shannon Sharp, Hall of Famer Shannon Sharp, has predicted that the Cleveland Browns will face off against the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Contingent, of course, on Deshaun Watson being able to give him 85 to 90% of what he once was. So, but he did say he likes the Browns and the Chiefs, which is cool because we don't get a lot of national...
Big network guy.
Yeah, big network guys that really are paying attention to the Browns.
Yeah.
Really ever.
He's someone who knows football,
Yeah, I mean, Shannon's guy's been around and obviously done all the different talk shows and stuff now. He's on First Take now. I think he has his own podcast and stuff. So, but that's a guy that's well connected and well respected, and giving the Browns a shot heading into this thing. So, excited to hear that. Taking a look at the lines for this weekend, betting info. Odds makers do have the Browns at home. It's only a 2.5 point spread, so it's almost a pick 'em. Just given that they're the home favorite. The over-under total said, I saw a couple different ones. I saw 41, 42.5 for this weekend. So seems like they're expecting points to be scored, which is good. And that's kind of the overall preview. So from there, let's go ahead and jump right into the injury report.
Yeah.
Had some news on that today. I think we have a sound effect here. All right, injury report here. Injury report time. Obviously, the Browns missing a number of guys that are on reserve list. Nick Chubb, Nyheim Hines, Luke Whippler, Mike Hall, who's in the future this season is in doubt, being on the commissioner's list. The only other big IR name that really stood out to me was Deron Bland, who we mentioned just a few minutes ago is an all-pro corner, one of those guys that really is a weapon on that Cowboys defense, but he's got something that's going to keep him out several weeks. So I think 6 to 8 weeks they're looking at with him, but he'll be back at some point during the season. Won't be our problem, though.
We ain't got to see him.
For now, you'd assume most of these teams are relatively healthy heading into week one. There were a number of guys listed, a little bit concerning on the Browns and a couple on the Cowboys side. David Bell, obviously with the quad. Most of these guys were limited at practice, so they haven't been ruled out or anything. But just names to keep an eye on, because a lot of these guys are
a lot of defensive
critical
starters.
players. Yeah, I mean, at this point. So David Bell with the quad, limited. Jack Conklin with the knee, limited. Hicks, limited. O'Hurst, limited. Jared Judy with the knee, but was a full participant in practice. Quentin Jefferson, the Achilles, was limited. JOK, hand, but was a full participant in practice. Dalvin Tomlinson, knee, limited. Nathaniel, that's Nathaniel, right? Nathaniel Watson.
I think so.
Quad, limited. Jedrick Wills, knee, limited. And defensive end, right, elbow, full participant. So, again, none of these guys have been ruled out. All just kind of bumps and bruises, it looks like. I would expect most everybody here to play, with the exception being we don't know what's going to happen at the tackle spot just yet with Jack Conklin, Jed Wills. But the name I don't see on this list, which is good for the first time, probably all camp, is DeJuan Jones. So he should be healthy going into the season if he has to play. And then on the Cowboys side, let's see, they've got linebacker Clark, defensive end Neeland, corner Mukuamu, defensive tackle Smith, all four full participants in practice. Safety Thomas, full participant, and then tight end Stevens has a hamstring, did not practice. So that's the latest information on the injury report that we're going to have before the game on Sunday. My guess is probably all of these guys play, with the exception of, again, the tackle spot for the Browns. We don't know what they're going to do. So I don't know if there's anything to really worry about here. It's surprising, I think, to see what's here, 11 or 12 guys that are already on the injured report, which isn't great for the Browns. All right, so that brings us to this week's player to watch. Bone, who do you got this week?
All right, so I was pretty excited when they brought this guy in, Devin Bush. So last I checked, he's going to be our starting Sam backer right now, alongside Hicks and JOK. And he was just a stud, just a ball hawk when the Steelers brought him in, top 10 player, and he played like it his first year. Next year was playing great, got hurt, ended up with a few other teams. Now he's with the Browns, hopefully reviving his career. So I'm hoping he just has that second win and he just brings it back, gives us another stud at linebacker, playing alongside two pretty good linebackers in their own right with JOK and Jordan Hicks. And I'm just excited to see him. I'm hoping the best for him, and I just want him to play really well. So he's my player to watch this week.
This was probably my favorite offseason acquisition.
Mm-hmm.
I am glad you picked him because it's one of those names that I keep forgetting that we have.
Right. Yeah. Until we're.
And then I'm looking at the roster and I'm like, damn, we got Bush. So yeah, I can't agree with you more. I'm super excited to see this guy play. Has high end potential. And the one thing that the Browns have really lacked since coming back in '99, there's a couple of guys. I mean, DeQuell was good.
Yeah.
Miller. Jameer Miller. Some of these guys in the linebacker room were okay. Mm-hmm. But we really haven't had a dominant force.
We've had some guys at the end of their careers kind of come in and be like, this guy used to be a stud.
So, but it just seems like for whatever reason, it has not been a priority drafting or finding talent in free agency for the Browns.
I will say aside, JOK is kind of filling that in now.
But JOK is such an anomaly because of the things that he can do.
Sure.
He's not. I guess he's not your prototypical linebacker, right? He's not your prototypical inside guy because he can cover, he can blitz, he can. He's a great tackler. He's just so versatile that you can use him anywhere on that defense. And with more and more teams kind of going to a 4-2-5 look, It kind of feels like that's maybe the prototype of the future, is just having two versatile guys inside that can help cover, that are athletic like that. But you also need guys that can stop the run when necessary.
Yeah.
So, a guy like GOK that has a nose for the football, obviously just a special talent. But Devin Bush kind of fits more of the look and feel of your prototypical linebacker.
I think he's like 6'1", 235 or something. Just solid dude.
Just a beast of a man. Yeah. And
maybe 5'11". I might be wrong on that. He might be a little shorter.
I'm just excited. I'm excited he's here. I mean, he was one of those names when he played with the Steelers. Like, you knew who he was just because he wrecked your day.
Well, it was like one of those guys you're like, gosh, they drafted another one. Like, why don't the Browns draft a stud linebacker? And then, Baltimore and Pittsburgh just do it every year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that he's a guy that shows up well and is here for a long time. Yeah. Ronnie has Myles Garrett as his player to watch this week. He mailed it in, as he mails in everything. He says he's feeling a big game coming from Myles. He thinks he uses this game to set the tone for the season for return to Defensive Player of the Year talks, and he's playing against another front runner, obviously, in Micah Parsons, and he is looking to make a statement. So I guess we will see who carries the day on Sunday. And for me, I don't have a name in particular, but I think it's my position group to watch is this running back room. Without Nick Chubb for the first few weeks, somebody's going to have to step up and carry the load. Does Jerome Ford progress from where he was last year? I mean, we saw him make some splashy plays that made his overall statistics look okay for a rookie. But if you kind of look at like yards per carry average, and especially if you take out some of those big plays, I mean, it was pretty dreadful. Yeah. This was not a guy that you could sustain a 12, 13, 14, 15 play drive with at the end of a game to melt clock. So does he take that leap? Does he become, the either heir apparent to Nick Chubb, or at least a viable fill-in? Does they've re-signed now Donta Foreman? Does Foreman end up being more of the bell cow in this offense? I think he showed flashes with his hands that he can catch balls out of the backfield, which really wasn't something that he was known for coming in. Obviously, a big-bodied dude can take punishment and hits, so I think he's more of that kind of archetype that you look for to have those long 12, 13, 14 play drives, and also a guy that can grind it and get into the end zone and on short yardage situations and red zone opportunities. And then Pierre Strong, look, I maintained since they've signed Pierre Strong that he needed to get more touches. This guy's electric. He's fast. I think he can catch balls out of the backfield. He's got just real fluid movement and balance in his lower body. Would love to see him become more of a potent player in this offense, but ultimately at the end of the day, like, someone has to step up, because that running game, as much as we want to pretend like this Cleveland Browns offense is going to be some air raid machine, like Kansas City 2.0, like, the strength of this team is still in its offensive line. Relatively, when guys are healthy, still in an offensive line. You have good players there that allow you to run, and that good running game covers up a lot of warts.
Yeah.
Deshaun doesn't have to be a superstar if you're churning out 125 yards on the ground. So who's going to be that guy? Or is this thing truly going to be running back by committee, and each guy's going to get 6-7 touches, and that's it? I mean, it'd be interesting to see what they go with schematically and who steps up as a player.
I'm kind of expecting, like, I just feel like it's always like without Chubb, it's like this series goes to this guy, this series goes to the next guy, and there's no change up. And you're often like, well, why didn't they have Kareem Hunt in this situation? Well, it wasn't his series apparently, and they can't make the switch. So I hope that's not the case, but that's kind of what I'm expecting from the running back situation. And we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's so important that they have a solid running game. Look, as much as the NFL game has changed, you can still win a lot of football games in the regular season with a running game and a great defense. Yeah. And That takes a lot of the pressure off to Sean.
Yes.
I mean, shoot, go back and run the old Baker Mayfield stuff. Run the ball and run play action passes and get him out, outside the pocket a little bit and let him have easy reads on one side of the field. You don't have to overcomplicate things if that running game is working. And we don't know what we're all hoping Nick Chubb comes back and he's Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
But it's so important because if Nick Chubb isn't Nick Chubb or Nick Chubb can't come back until late in the season, you're going to have to manufacture some kind of running game until he gets back. So I think this is as critical as who knows what Deshaun's going to be. I think this is the next most critical step is who is going to lead that backfield until Nick Chubb comes back.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
And that will take us to the hot 3.
I'm the heat in your lungs. I'm the smoke in the sky. I'm the gas in the tank. Gonna turn it up, turn it up. I'm hot to the touch, burning up. I'm hot to the touch. I'm hot to the touch, burning up. I'm hot like fire, 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 fire.
All right. Hot 3. This is our new segment this year where we go through a top 3 countdown of something each week.
Yeah.
This week, in line with the fact that it is week 1 of the NFL season, we're going to have a hot 3 on our favorite tailgate foods. So I will start with Ronnie since he's in Disneyland.
Yeah, where the hell is he?
He was in Disney days. He was dying. He said it was 100 degrees.
Goodness. Walking around.
I was like, I hope you get heat stroke.
300-acre park, whatever the hell it is.
He's like, I was just dying out there, man. I was like, good. That's what you get. So number 3 for Ronnie. He's got buffalo chicken dip. Love that buffalo chicken dip.
Yeah, solid choice.
Number 2, chili.
Oh, messy. I don't know about that.
And number 1, burgers. I will say when we had season tickets, Ronnie and I had them at the same time. That was probably our staple. It's kind of easy to pack like a small grill and do burgers. And I would make you take a patty and then smash a big blob of cheese in the middle of it. And put another patty on top, stuffed hamburger.
Stuffed hamburger.
Then put another slice on top. That was kind of our tailgate tradition, at least when we had season tickets. So
it's very versatile.
Yeah,
which makes for it doesn't get old. You can just keep eating it.
And having a grill there is versatile too because you can do we did steaks one time. Ooh. It's but it's easier to eat a hamburger, when you're drinking like that because you can't go to Muni Lot and not drink from 7 a.m. to noon.
Oh yeah, you have to.
You have to. Yeah. It's why I don't do it anymore. Because my body can't do it.
Yeah. Too much fun. Too much fun to be had.
Burgers are a good choice there. What about you, Bone Man?
All right, so Ronnie kind of took the buffalo chicken dip, so I'll probably have that in there, but I have a few other ones. So my number 3 is going to be a big pot of or a crock pot, maybe you pre-make it of pulled pork. Or smoked pulled pork or whatever, throw a little barbecue on it, or leave it, leave the smokiness to itself and then add some barbecue on your sandwich when you get there. Whatever you want to do. Maybe some slaw. I don't know.
Yeah.
But also kind of versatile, I feel like. Delicious, easy.
That's what I was going to say. It's versatile in that, you could throw it on a roll and have a sandwich, or you just eat it with a fork.
Eat it plain. Yeah, eat it plain.
Or with your hands.
Yeah.
You never know in a Muni Lot.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe share with some folks walking by,
Eat it in the Porta-John.
Yeah. I'll also do, for number 2, I'm going to do buffalo chicken dip because it's just delicious. The wife makes an excellent buffalo chicken dip right in the crock pot. Also easy to keep warm, bring up, eat with either chips or my new personal favorite is celery sticks with buffalo chicken dip.
Celery sticks are a good choice.
It is so good with celery sticks.
Yeah.
And I
just
love it.
Your wife and your mom make a good buffalo chicken dip.
I've told my wife this before, but my mom's is my all-time favorite. She just does it real weird in a pan, and
she makes a good chicken dip.
I don't know what it is, but it's never been replicated anywhere I've ever been. And then number 1 is just the classic sausage sandwich with onions and peppers that are sauteed down with some mustard. I love that, and I don't get it that often because my wife also doesn't like to eat sausage sandwiches, and so we never have them at home. You know, so. tailgating is like I just love it.
It's one of those things. It's a little bit. They're a little bit hard to grill. Like you can get like the pre-cooked ones, like the Johnsonville. Like those are fine, but like to cook a regular sausage, like you gotta.
It's raw.
Make sure you get it
the
cooked.
raw ones that are I agree.
It's real easy to undercook them, and then it's super. If you're so disappointed to bite into a raw sausage, I need another couple minutes.
Yeah, and you know it right away too, because you can kind of taste it, you see it, you're like.
But a good sausage, there's nothing better.
Yeah, and those can kind of be like you can pre-make those too. Put them in a vat of something, like in the peppers and stuff or whatever, and they tend to warm up good. And
I find that for tailgating, especially if you're on site tailgating, cook them the day before. Put them in a little foil pan, and if you have a grill or whatever fire going, you throw them on that, heat them up. Yeah, that's a good choice. I didn't think about that because that was another staple of ours was the sausages. But I definitely undercooked some of them in the media lot.
I'm still alive today.
you're really drunk and you're like, yeah, this looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Sausage. That's a good choice.
Yeah, burger you can undercook. Sausage is like one of those like I don't
peppers and onions. Not. Yeah. What do you do? Regular mustard or what do you put on there?
Any mustard's good. I'll do stadium mustard, yellow mustard
on it.
Dijon mustard,
stadium mustard, little bit of ketchup, but I just douse that thing in stadium mustard.
I'll do ketchup, I guess, every now and then, but I will go straight mustard.
Yeah.
On literally, ketchup is my favorite condiment.
That's a grown man move. But straight mustard.
Straight mustard on a sausage sandwich with onions and peppers is key. If there's no onions and peppers, I feel like I have to have ketchup.
Yeah. Solid. I just had a sausage sandwich at the fair.
Man, I really want a sausage sandwich now.
They cook them in like the red sauce too. Yeah. And they got the peppers and onions going. Oh god, it was great.
Fair sausage. That sounds delicious.
Fair sausage.
I'm gonna have second dinner when I get home.
I'll tell you what. Eating at the fair though is not cheap.
Dude, I know.
I mean, it's so expensive. And like my kid's little. Like I don't gotta feed him really. We fed him like scraps of what we were eating. Yeah. Like man, someday he's gonna need actual food.
Did you get some Lurch's donuts?
The line for that was so long.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. But you know what is? I don't know if you're here locally, Duma's Meats. I don't know if you've ever been to the donut girl at Duma's Meats. She basically makes a Lurch's donut. You can get them anytime.
Out in the parking lot? Or?
Yeah.
I didn't know that she was there.
And she does every day. They do like brown sugar cinnamon glazed. Yeah. And then she'll have a flavor of the day. Okay. So it'll be like blueberry glaze, strawberry glaze, peach cobbler, like Buckeye. She does all kinds of but they're essentially Lurch's. They're little Lurch's donuts.
I'll have to try that out.
It's a good substitute. Like the fair only comes once a year, so you can kind of get that same flavor from locally if you're over there.
Nice.
I really like her donuts. They're great. So if you're in the area,
check out Duma's.
Check out Duma's for not only their meats, but buy
a cow.
They also have a burger truck now sitting in there. I don't know if you've been over to see this.
That's one of the Duma boys, I believe, runs that.
Yeah. One of the Duma boys does burger dispatch, and we've had lunch there a couple times now. It's really good. I mean, it's because we go there, we'll go get some steaks and pork butt or whatever, and then you just come out of the parking lot and they got these food trucks and they got the girl making donuts and she's got fancy lemonades and teas and things.
I'm getting off track here a little bit, but I saw a video. He was kind of promoting his food truck. And he's like, these are our cows, this is what ends up being like a burger patty, literally like the next day possibly. Yep. And no kidding, in the background, this cow mounts another cow and just starts going to town. Did you see that? It was so funny. And he's just sitting there talking about the burgers and whatnot. And it was, man, I hope this, promotes his stuff more too. But it was so funny. I'm sure they left that in there on purpose.
I think they cut that too, and then they put they did a still shot of it later. And they were like, you could eat this, mounted right up, man.
It was fantastic.
That was almost like it had to be planned. Yeah. But anyways, Dumas, great meat. Yeah. God-fearing people, food trucks in the parking lot. Yeah. You can make a whole afternoon of it. People do. I mean, this place is crazy. Like I've been in there a number of times on a Friday afternoon at 2 p.m.
Packed.
It's packed.
Always.
I mean, you're waiting 20, 30 deep at the meat counter. Yeah. I'm like, who are these? What do these people do for a living? I
get cows from them. I've been ordering cows from them, man. I actually need to do that soon. I love it.
It's awesome stuff. Anyways, back to the hot three. It's not a paid testimonial, by the way.
We're still talking food, I feel like.
So. Hot three. So number 3, I have our families used to get together pretty frequently over like the Super Bowl when we were little.
Yeah.
And we kind of stole this from your family was pepperoni rolls, like a little stromboli action.
Dude, I
you
didn't even
make
think
like
about
a
that.
bunch of pepperoni rolls. You got the sauce. Like they're just super easy to like throw 3 of them on a plate, like while you're watching the game. Some sauce and just carry them around with you and go get. They're not like super filling because you can you cut them into small slices.
You can eat way too many of them though.
Yeah. I mean, you can go to town on them real easy. So that's what I have as number 3 again.
Good cold too.
Stole those from the Bone family. Number 2, chili. I know you said that's messy, but I'm a big soup guy. Like,
yeah, you are.
I will eat soup out of my hand. Like and fall. Like you don't cook chili in the summertime, because it's hot.
Nope.
People do crock pots of chili and stew and stuff in the fall, and to me, it's just one of those staples of fall that you get to chili. And I like my chili hot. I like to throw it. Like when I make a pot of chili, I make it kind of normal to average heat, just a few peppers and things. But like when I get my bowl, I'm just dousing that thing with Frank's Red Hot. Just pour that shit on it.
Do you add like sour cream or anything to it, or like diced raw onion
and cheese? And,
cheese.
Yeah, I like onion in mine and some green pepper, a little jalapeno action. But yeah, chili is just one of my all-time favorite foods. Period. So.
Maybe I take back that because I'm like getting images of people like around a crock pot, like filling up bowls of chili, like eating it with their little hats on at the football game. Like
to be fair,
it's pretty. It's
harder to do in the Muni lot.
Yeah,
but when it's cold out there are people that do bring crock pots and little styrofoam bowls, and you see that in the Muni lot. But I'm thinking more like my own tailgate, in my house, for a big game if there's something.
All the luxuries at home.
Yeah. I'm sitting on my couch with my bowl of chili, and I got my sour cream, my cheese, my hot sauce, and just making it go. And then number 1, no debates here. Buffalo chicken dip's the greatest. Just maybe one of the greatest foods of all time.
Yes.
It is funny because I feel like it didn't always exist.
It came about when we were kids, didn't it?
But for a long time when we were kids, it did I'd never had buffalo chicken dip.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden
it blew up.
When we were, 11, I had it for the first, and I was like, this is the best. Why have I never eaten this?
It was like the green bean casserole of our time. Everybody has it
showed
now.
up one day, and now everybody makes it. And it's hard to almost find a bad buffalo chicken dip. I mean, there are some out there, but just the combination of cream cheese and some people do ranch or not, but hot sauce and
ranch packets,
and chicken, and God, it's so good.
So good. I have some in my fridge actually right now.
I'm gonna make some for Sunday. That's my go-to. If I my guilty snack. Not that I need a guilty snack. I eat what I want, but that's my go-to. When I'm getting ready for a big game, whether it's playoffs or whatever. Buffalo chicken dip is happening, so that'll be getting in my belly this weekend.
Without a doubt. And I have buffalo chicken dip in the fridge, unless Christy ate it.
Can't beat that. All right, and so with football being back, the Browns being back, we can also look forward to our conversations with Cleveland Browns backers being back. So for those of you that don't know or forgot from last season, we started this interview series with Browns backers to bring awareness not only to the groups themselves, because they are all over the country and all over the world, but also wanted to let people know about all the good things they're doing in their communities. So a lot of these groups raise thousands of dollars each year in their local communities, give them to local charities, good causes. They do, city cleanup days. They have different outings and events all year long where they're doing raffles and things to, again, help out their local community. And so we wanted to make sure we take time to recognize these individuals and all the hard work that goes into. A lot of these groups are, vary in different levels of organization and guys and folks that are involved, from big to small, but all of them matter. And these guys that put these events together are just some incredible individuals that work really, really hard. Some of these groups, again, are small in organization, but house large groups of people. So they're putting these events on week in and week out for watch parties all across the country, all across the world. and sometimes doing it with just a husband and a wife or a couple of friends that got together, and that's their committee and crew. So good on them, and we're here to share their stories. So for this week, week 1, we will follow the Browns right to Dallas with our interview with the Dallas area Browns backers.
Powered by Riverside FM.
All right, so first up for this year's interview series with our Browns backers, our friends, the Browns backers, we have the Dallas area Browns backers, and we do have their president, Fred, on the line with us. Fred, how are you doing today?
I am excellent. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. Looking forward to this upcoming season?
Oh, I'm so excited. I mean, after last year making the playoffs, I mean, optimism runs high.
Oh, yeah. We hear that. So why don't we go ahead and just tell us just a little bit about your chapter.
Alrighty. Well, the Dallas area Browns backers were actually founded in 1980, so the old team. And then in 1999, they were actually named the Dallas area Browns backers. I hate to say I can't tell you what the name was prior to, because I was still in Cleveland, Ohio then. We are a licensed nonprofit. We are organized. We have a board of directors with a president, 5 vice presidents, a treasurer, and event coordinator. So we are really well organized. I was very surprised when I joined the organization how well organized we are. And we're truly a social organization talking about giving back to the community. So, 362 members strong.
Oh, wow. It's a large group.
Yeah, it's huge.
Well, we are based at 5 different locations because Dallas is extremely spread out.
Gotcha. So, like, what areas, obviously Dallas is like Arlington, different areas around Dallas, or what areas are they all in?
Okay, so we have a Dallas location, which is actually just outside of downtown, Denton, which is pretty much due north of Dallas. Frisco is northeast of Dallas. Fort Worth, and then Richardson, which is kind of east of Dallas. And we actually were looking to expand to another location out in Rockwall because it's growing leaps and bounds.
Nice. Well, it's good to hear that the organization continues to grow. That's awesome. Over 300 members to 5 different locations. Now, are you in different, like the viewing locations? Is it all part of the same chain, or are you in different bars and restaurants around?
Different locations. We're at Bryan Street Tavern, which is a new location in downtown. The Dive Bar in Denton. The Revel in Frisco. Flip's Patio Grill in Fort Worth. And Fox and Hound in Richardson. I think it's the only Fox and Hound left anymore.
Very nice. So no, that's great. It sounds like you still have a ton of interest. Like you said, the group continues to grow. That you're having to add new locations. Sounds like you have a really big, strong organization. You said you had 5 vice presidents. So I'm assuming there's just one kind of corresponding then to each chapter.
That's right. The vice presidents are all our site leaders.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, can you tell us, obviously the group that large, are there any kind of like community service projects or charities that you guys get involved in down there?
Yes. Well, each location has their own charity that we raise money for. We raise money for our charities through a halftime raffle where we raffle off Browns memorabilia. We sell T-shirts, and we actually sell memberships. And last year, in the Dallas area, we raised over $14,000 for these local charities.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, that is incredible.
No, that's really great. I think that's one of the things that we talk about here a lot on the show is a lot of folks are familiar at least with the name Browns backers, but maybe don't necessarily know all the things that they do. And it just seems like the more and more we talk to each chapter that we've come into contact with, it's just like the impact to your local communities is huge. And you guys are doing this every year. Membership continues to grow. So that's awesome and super impactful to your local communities. Now, Fred, you said you were a native Clevelander, or you had moved down to Dallas?
Yeah, I was raised out in Willoughby, and then we moved to Hudson when I was in grade school. So I spent most of my life in Hudson, Ohio. And
nice.
I graduated.
I work in Hudson.
Do you? All right. I can tell you it's changed a lot since the 80s when I left Ohio.
Okay. Was it still a village at that point?
Actually, it was a village and a township. We were raised out in the township by the country club. Before it was a country club, It was actually a cow pasture when we lived there.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it's a nice country club now. I haven't been in it, but I've seen the outside.
It's a nice cow pasture.
I can tell you, I still know the pro there. We were actually charter members because they knocked on our door and said, for $500 you can join a country club that we're going to build.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I was at a wedding over there once. It's a real nice facility. So what brought you to Dallas?
I graduated from Ohio State before there was a V on it in 1982 when the economy was terrible. At that time, actually, I was living in Mansfield, and the unemployment was about 17% in Mansfield, Ohio. So I left to get a job.
Gotcha. And then stayed there ever since, right?
You know what? I've migrated here. I've been in Oklahoma, California, Florida, Colorado. I ended up here this time.
Traveling, man.
2020.
You've been everywhere.
I'm in the mortgage business. You go where the mortgages are.
Fair enough. That was my last stop. Was in mortgage. Awesome. Well, no, appreciate just your background there. So now we've talked about your chapter a little bit. Obviously, we have this week beginning football for the first time, and they're going to carry us through the rest of the year, essentially. So what are your thoughts on this upcoming Browns team, just the season outlook in general?
I'm optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic. There's a lot of ifs out there, but I don't see why we can't improve on or match last year's record with the team we have. I think we've added to the team. It's better. But
any particular challenges that you're a little wary of?
Let's see. Deshaun Watson. We'll start with that one.
So is your concern there is it whether he's healthy or whether he's good?
I think whether he's good. He showed flashes of brilliance when he has played, but he's also looked mediocre at times when he's played.
Yeah, far cry from his years there in Houston for sure. So hopefully he can continue to improve. So obviously we have the season opener here this week, home opener against the Dallas Cowboys.
Cowgirls, let's get it right.
The Cowgirls, perfect. What's the temperature around town? Where you're hearing anything locally? Is there expectations for this team this year? It seems like just from what we get here that the offseason was maybe a little disappointing. Obviously, they've got some questions around contracts still with the head coach and the quarterback. But what's the temperature down there?
Well, if you listen to the newspaper, they're a Super Bowl champ already. If you listen to their fans, they're concerned because they didn't do any upgrades in the offseason, and they do have the contract issues.
Any thoughts on? Are they talking about the Browns at all this week, or are they just a team that thinks they're going to steamroll everybody and they should win every week? Is there anybody that's concerned about this Browns team?
I think the fans are very concerned about it. When I talk to people, it's like the Browns have had our numbers over the years, and it's in Cleveland, so there's going to be a huge crowd and it's going to be loud. And the question mark, CeeDee Lamb is not going to play, their best receiver. So how good is their offense really going to be? They don't have a running back anymore. They've got to retread in Ezekiel Elliott. Excuse me. Can't talk.
Yeah, Zeke down there. Seems like there's a stable of journeymen behind him there. I know they signed Dalvin Cook, but last I heard, it sounds like he's still going to be labeled practice squad, at least for this week. Is that what you're hearing as well down there?
That is definitely what I'm hearing.
Yeah. So yeah, that running back room is not great.
It's amazing how fast running backs fall. It's just like Dalvin Cook a couple years ago, man, was just a stud.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he had that one bad season really last year with New York and bounced around a little bit, and now it's like he's damaged goods. So do you have any special events, I guess, to kick off the NFL season with your chapters here, or anything outside of your normal watch parties?
We're going to do our watch parties. I do know in 5 weeks we are doing we get all 5 groups in one location. We do some really, really nice raffle prizes. Last year we had about 250 people show up for that game.
Wow.
And we raised $1,500 for the charity just through raffles.
Awesome.
We'll do that. And then we're starting to promote. We always go to a Cavaliers game since they come to Dallas once a year.
Nice.
And we've always done a Guardians game every year.
Yeah, that one still trips us up too. So do you get pretty good crowds in for the Cavs and the Guards then?
For the Guards this year we had 115. The Cavaliers are hit and miss.
Yeah.
Depending if it's a weekday game, we don't. If we actually pull a weekend, we'll pull in 50 to 75.
Fair enough. No, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear you guys are getting activity for the other Cleveland sports teams as well. That's not something that is super consistent around some of these groups, so that's great to hear. Awesome. Well, obviously, like I said, you're right in their backyard there in Dallas. So, do you have a score prediction for this week's game?
No, I'm going to say the Browns are going to win by a touchdown, but I'm not going to put a score out there because I really think it's going to be a low-scoring game. Too many ifs.
I can respect that. We never like to be disappointed by our Browns. It's always good to go in with lower expectations, right? Awesome. Well, and then I guess my final question for you is, since it is the beginning of the season, you're the lucky one. Do you have an overall season prediction in terms of where you expect them to finish out, and is this a playoff team or not?
I'm going to say 11-6, and yes, it's a playoff team.
Awesome. You think 11-6 wins the division?
No. Unfortunately, we're in the toughest division out there, so we're in as a wild card. I mean, I hate to say Baltimore is stacked.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there was a ton of moves in the AFC North. Just Pittsburgh and Baltimore both bringing in Derrick Henry to Baltimore, and who moved over to Pittsburgh on the defensive linebacker? Patrick Queen. Yeah. So they bolstered the defense. He had to have new quarterbacks there, and Joe Burrow's healthy in Cincinnati, so should be a tight division. So if we don't win the division, who do you think does win the division coming out of the North?
I'll go with Baltimore.
Fair.
How can you vote against the MVP? And
now they've added King Henry.
Yeah.
No, makes total sense. Well, hey, look, it's been great having you on. Great talking to you. I'm so glad we got a chance to chat here with, like I said, someone down there in the backyard of the Dallas team we're going to be playing this weekend. And we wish you all the best. Thank you so much for joining this week.
Well, thank you for having me, and go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.
This is the Dallas area Browns backers, and you are listening to the Burning River Sportscast. Go Browns. Woof, woof.
All right, good time talking to Frank with the Dallas area Browns backers.
Yeah, it was a good conversation.
Fun
A lot
guy.
of people in Dallas.
Yeah.
Part of the Browns backers. That was wild.
I mean, you think about putting events on for that many people across that many locations.
Right.
I mean, that's a feat in and of itself, just to keep all that organized. And it sounds like they're raising.
I was amazed by that number. That was I think he said like 14,000 or something last year.
And the thing is, like you think
for
about
local
that,
charities, and
you think about that, that's every year they're raising that kind of money, like over the course of 5-10 years. Like this group's been in existence since 1980. He said, like incredible work, incredible contributions to the community, and it sounds like they're growing. It sounds like they're adding locations, so that's always good. We love to see that for our Browns backers groups. There's so many things competing for our time today. So for people to still be engaged and want to be a part of not only a fan club, but a group of people that is involved and a huge part of their community, just awesome to see. So well done, Dallas area Browns backers. So with that, let's take a quick revenue break, and then we'll get back here and talk about the rest of the divisions, give our predictions for all the AFC North games in Week 1, including the Browns. Towpath Distillery. Towpath Distillery, an award-winning craft distillery located in Akron, Ohio. Towpath Distillery focuses on high-quality spirits carefully made in small batches. Towpath's lineup includes an ultra-smooth, award-winning premium vodka, a small batch silver rum made from the highest-grade molasses, an American craft gin made with 9 botanicals, and a blended straight bourbon made from corn and rye. Towpath Distillery, now available locally and in 46 states. Visit towpath-distillery.com to place your order online or find an OHLQ retailer near you. Towpath Distillery, handcrafted, award-winning, small batch, local, and family-owned. All right, I got something to talk about.
Oh, what's that?
Something that's coming up
Something exciting?
that we're real excited about.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited for it.
And that is the Burning River Sportscast and the Dog Pound taking over New Orleans. That's right, the New Orleans True Fan Travel Trip. So the event includes optional round-trip private charter flight, 3-night stay at the Renaissance New Orleans, French Quarter, welcome party, all-inclusive cruise down the Mississippi River with the Dog Pound, including the Burning River Sportscast, Q&A with Kevin Mack. I'm sure he'll probably sign some autographs too. Pep rally, all-inclusive tailgate, tickets to the game at the world-renowned Superdome. On-site trip coordinators to handle any questions, issues that may arise. This event is going to be so much fun.
I'm so pumped. Thanks for bringing me. I can't wait, man.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
The show wouldn't go on without the Bone
Yeah.
Man. No, this thing is going to be lit. Myself, Red Hot Ronnie James, the Bone Man, all going down to New Orleans. We're excited to take some beads home, get some beignets, just to see the Superdome.
Yeah.
I was actually just watching like a thing on Katrina the other day, like then and now kind of type of thing. It's just it's incredible, kind of where they were at the height of the destruction to like the normality of life that exists there today. It was a long time ago, but not that long ago.
Sure.
And then they've rebuilt so much of this. And just the Superdome was such a critical piece of that whole story, housing people for...
I just remember seeing the news video of people in there for weeks.
Yeah.
Just like...
I mean, that was one of the only like kind of safe refuges for people. So, historical, obviously, the Super Bowls and things have been played there, but just something that's kind of like as a sports fan, like bucket list item, like the Superdome. So super excited. Yeah, plus they're playing the Saints, so we're gonna win.
Oh yeah, we have their number.
Yeah, I mean,
Except I think they came up and beat us in the cold weather game. Was that last year or 2 years ago? It was freezing.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah, not happy. Cut that from the show.
Because we're going there this time, and we're going to take their home. It'll be the Browns Superdome by the time we're done with it. So, again, True Fan Travel, check that out online. Check it out in the links in the show notes. We would love for you to join us in New Orleans. And that takes us to the King of the North.
King of the North.
All right, in case anyone doesn't know by now, this is our year-long AFC North. Wow, that came out of my mouth. Weird. This is our year-long AFC North Pick'em competition. At the end of the season, whoever comes in last place gets punished. And in the preseason last year, Kenny, that's me, had a gross of eggs thrown at him by fans in a mini-lut before a game. In the preseason this year, Kenny, that's me, had his head and beard shaved clean off. And that's a lot of hair donated. We're working on the punishment for this year. We have a couple of ideas in mind. We're going to announce it this year so we all can look forward to the loser having to go through this. We just haven't decided just yet on what that's going to be. So we don't know yet what me will have to do next year or this year for losing. So let's get into it. But first things first, we do want to remind everyone the Bone is the reigning defending King of the North. Kenny, that's me, as always, is a clown. Let's remind everyone of last year's final records. Bone Man eking out the season-long victory at 33-23. Red Hot Ronnie James at 31-25. And myself, we're not going to talk about it. So let's kick off this year and get into this week's games. Cincinnati hosts New England. Ronnie picks Cincinnati.
Let's see.
Bone, who do you got?
I'm also going to pick Cincinnati. That's
Fair
all I got
enough.
to say
Any
about
reason
that.
why?
I think Joe Burrow, he's going to be throwing the ball at Jamar. It's just going to be, they'll be back.
Yeah.
They'll be back looking good.
I'm going to go Cincy as well. I think New England has the potential to be one of this year's dumpster fire teams. Jacoby Brissett is set to start. He was kind of injured in the preseason. They've got Drake May waiting in the wings, who we'll see what he does. A receiving core that isn't very good. Juju Smith-Schuster couldn't even make it.
He got cut?
He got cut, and they don't really have anybody that's better than him on that roster. So, I just think they're thin at a lot of critical positions. That defense maybe is going to be better than last year's, but I just think they're bad. And look, the line reflects it. They're an 8-point or 8.5-point dog this week playing Cincinnati. So I'm going to go Cincy. Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers travel to Atlanta in the Mercedes-Benz other dome. Ronnie picks the Falcons. Bone Man.
Of course he did. I'm also going to pick the Falcons. Maybe a little rough start for the new quarterback situation. Little wrinkles they got to work out, and Atlanta's going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, Atlanta's got some quarterback turmoil there for sure. I mean, it sounds like Kirk Cousins will be the man for now, but the surprise draft pick there with Michael Penix.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard a lot about Penix, though, in the offseason, like in terms of like training camp or any of that. I don't know.
I haven't either,
I didn't really,
honestly.
And not that I follow Atlanta that closely.
Yeah. Hey, a good running back.
But, they got some pieces down there. Drake London, good young receiver down there. That defense wasn't god-awful last year, so they should be a little improved this year as well. And I just think the Steelers team is going to take time to mesh. Obviously, Ross being a starter down there, not knowing kind of what direction that offense is going to go. They've got Najee, whose deal hasn't been picked up. Not sure. They've got some other good young running backs in the stable there. So we'll see if they maybe work away from the running game, which has been kind of a staple in the past. Got Patrick Quinn in the offseason, so I do think the defense will be formidable at some point. But just not sure it's yet. And just given that they're in Atlanta, I will go Falcons.
I have a strange feeling we're all going to be wrong on that.
Yeah, that could be the case.
Yeah, nobody said it yet, but they got Mike Tomlin.
I would love the Steelers to just start like 0-5.
I know, it would be great.
Just one time in my life. The Ravens head to Kansas City on Thursday Night Football on Prime to kick off the season. Ronnie picks Kansas City. Bone Man, where you at?
Man, are we all going to pick the same teams this whole week? Just start off like the same record? You know what? I'm going to go Baltimore.
Nice.
I'm gonna say Lamar is gonna light it up. I think he's gonna look really well. He ain't getting hurt this game. I think he will in a future game. But this game in particular,
my fantasy quarterback.
Sorry, he just does. This is his year to do that. So it's like every other for him. So I'm gonna go Baltimore.
Nice. Gosh, I am excited about this game. This should be a slobber knocker of a matchup. Kansas City's a good football team.
Yeah.
And they're returning everybody, basically. Headed for that 3-peat. Lamar's the reigning MVP, though, and they've added King Henry. I think this ends up being kind of a statement game for Baltimore out the gate. I'm going to go Ravens. Unfortunately, as much as I hate to pick the Ravens to win ever.
Great.
And just
bad.
going kind of by last season, like Kansas City struggled a little bit out the gate, lost some games to like teams they should have lost, like the Raiders early on. And I would expect that a team that's coming off another Super Bowl win, bringing everybody back, like it's easy to get complacent in the early part of the season.
Sure.
And then, they don't lose games in December. It's like that kind of like still the preseason for them. And not that they're learning a bunch of new shit, but like, I just think it's easy to just kind of be like, we're going to come in and play our game, and if we get beat, we get beat. It's not that serious yet,
Is it? It's in Kansas City. Okay.
Yeah, it is in Kansas City. Yeah, I'm sure they'll do ring ceremony and all that nonsense beforehand, so that'll be fun. But I do think the Baltimore Ravens come and spoil the party. And then lastly, we'll pick team and a score here. Our Brownies host the Cowboys at the newly dubbed Huntington Bank Field. Ooh. Ronnie has Cleveland winning 24-13. Ball man.
Cleveland 17-14. Dustin Hopkins game-winning field goal.
You love D-Hop.
Oh, yeah, I love D-Hop. I mean, check that out. The D-Hop shirt.
What'd you say, 17-14?
17-14.
Smart.
Are you adding it? I'll add it.
Oh, I didn't even see it.
Am I messing it up?
No, you're doing
Are you
good.
seeing it? Okay.
I screwed it up. You're good. I didn't realize you were putting them in. It's good work.
I was wondering why. Yeah, okay, yeah, never mind.
Sorry, I was watching the recording, and I was like, we probably need to put this in here so we're on the track. All right. So for myself, Browns hosting the Cowboys, Week 1. Tom Brady in the booth, going to be mid-prime time here. Can't wait to hear this thing and watch this thing go down. Look, here's the deal. I think this Cowboys team is overrated as usual. I think they're going to put up a bunch of numbers this season. They'll probably play some decent defense. I think Cleveland just comes in and has too much energy. The stadium's going to be rocking. I think this is like our... I don't want to call it a revenge game for like losing in the playoffs, but I think this is our like we're back and we're here game. Like last season was kind of lightning in a bottle. We had a 40-year-old journeyman like show up out of not journeyman, he won a Super Bowl, but he was a journeyman now. We had a 40-year-old guy to show up his couch and we won some games we shouldn't have and made it to the playoffs. Like this whole team's intact. This whole team looks great on paper. Everybody for the most part is healthy. I'm going Browns big in this one. I see 33-14.
Oh man, I love it.
Yes.
Man, how pumped would you be if 33-14?
Just absolutely blow them out. Just run them out of town. Let everybody know.
That'd be so much fun.
The Cowboys.
So much fun.
Still suck. And that'll take us to Gassed Up. All right, this is Gassed Up. This is a segment where we like to vent about what's either pissing us off or just getting us just generally excitable in the world today. Ball man, you got anything this week?
Man, oh man, right to me. All right, I always forget about the excited portion, but it's almost fall. All right, I love fall. My birthday's in the fall. Football's in the fall.
Hey, your birthday.
Pumpkins are in the fall.
You're gonna be an old man here soon.
Yeah, it's soon. It's soon. I don't mind my age. Whatever. It comes every year, so be it. But so I'm excited. I'm excited for the fall. Football season, like I already said, go and do like I don't know, we go to like a pumpkin patch, with the kids and stuff. It's always fun. Do a little corn maze or something like that.
Yeah, your girls have like now that they can like pick their own pumpkins. And you do fun stuff.
Yeah, they'll have me still reach in and grab the guts. They're too scared to do it. I'm like, come on. The little one will try, but then she's like, I don't know about that.
I still don't like pumpkin.
Yeah. You know what? She is into like pumpkin seeds all of a sudden. I don't know where they got this. They must have got it from a television show or something because they're like, Dad, can you make pumpkin seeds for us? I'm like who eat? Are you? You are like the most picky eaters ever, and you want pumpkin seeds?
They want to eat them?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I think they saw it on TV or something. I don't know. One of their whatever it was.
Never something that I wanted to eat.
I've since tried them, and they're not bad, but.
I mean, people like flavor them with stuff, right? Kind of like sunflower seeds, like you put.
Either salt or some type of Old Bay or something on them, or whatever it is. But
honey bacon or something.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm excited for fall.
Fall's good. You know the thing that I'm looking forward to the most in fall, not besides football season, and chili, buffalo chicken dip, cider. I'm a big cider guy.
Yeah, that should have been on the list.
Love cider.
Like hot cider, or is just any cider?
I love it all.
Yeah.
I mean, like I'll drink like a gallon of it in a sitting and then shit for 3 straight days. Like I just can't help myself. I miss the days like when you could go to a local orchard before they like even had to like pasteurize it. Like that kind of kills a little bit of the natural vibe
rawness
that you get. Yeah, just that raw flavor of cider, the just fermented apple. It's
delicious.
Just so good. But yeah, I also like it hot, especially when it gets uber cold outside. It's nice to just curl up and have a hot cider with a little cinnamon stick action in it.
Sure. Stir stick.
Yeah.
You know what? Can I add one more thing to mine?
Yeah.
Because you brought up cider, just apples in general. Like apple season you get fresh apples at the store. It's so hard to find a good apple right now.
Oh,
throughout the summer. Like you pick one, they have them coated in wax and stuff, so you can't tell. And you bite into it, and it's all kind of soft and mushy or gritty. It's the most disappointing thing.
Facts for days is that those apples in a grocery store can sit in storage for 12 months.
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah.
But
versus going to get hand-picked apple like they were picked that morning.
Now you hope.
Pick your own.
Yeah, now you hope. Yeah, exactly. Pick your own, or Giant Eagle will be like, hey, these are from this orchard in the area. They're new, they're fresh. You know they're good. So.
And I'm just still glad that there's still orchards for us to go to get fresh apples and apple cider, because when I was little, it seemed like there was more. And it seems like, we've lost some with either just families retiring from the business.
Sure.
It's maybe just not as profitable as it used to be. I don't know. But we're fortunate to live in the communities we do here kind of in Northeast Ohio that still have apple orchards for us to go to and get fresh apple cider and fresh apples, because you're right, man. I mean, buy red delicious apples at the grocery store, like you don't know where they came from or how long they've been sitting there, but man, you go get some Jonah Golds or something, just hand picked that morning, and there's a huge difference in quality, taste, texture, everything, just that crisp. And you wash it down with some apple cider, just apple on apple. Yeah, it's an appleception.
Apple pie.
Yeah. Very nice. So Bone Man is excited. He's gassed up about the fall. I'm gassed up. I'm gassed up about the Mandela effect.
Ooh, do explain.
Are you familiar with the Mandela effect just in general? Just the idea that...
I don't think so.
What's like one of the most famous ones? Like, do you remember Sinbad playing a genie in a comedy called like Shazam or Kazam?
Yes.
When we were little?
Yes.
Okay, well, that never happened.
Huh?
Never happened. He never was in a movie called Kazam. Shazam was never a genie. Didn't happen. But like, you vividly remember it, don't you?
Was it a television show?
It was not. It didn't exist.
Are you sure? Was it a cartoon?
This is the Mandela effect. Like, we remember this, and that's one of the most famous ones, because we all, I swear to God, like, on my everything.
Are there like articles written about this or something?
Yeah, it's very like well-known psychological something. And scientists really can't explain it. Like, is it the intersection of like different realities, like relativity and time, and like, is there an alternate universe where Sinbad did play?
Is there a movie called Sinbad?
Shaq was in a movie where he played a genie. And I think that was Kazam.
Okay,
but I think I swear there was a movie where Sinbad played the genie called Shazam. And like, so do millions of other people on the planet.
I mean, I immediately related when you said that. Yeah, that's just like
other people. Like, if you think about like the Fruit of the Loom logo, what do you see?
It's a bunch of fruit, right? Or not?
Just a bunch of fruit, just sitting on a table.
Is it a cornucopia?
It's in a cornucopia, right?
Yeah.
It's not in a cornucopia. But like in your mind, you're probably picturing that logo.
Yeah.
You see the cornucopia, you're like the fruit in it. You're like, that's the Fruit of the Loom.
Sure.
Like, these are like some of the well-known ones.
Okay.
Right? It drives me crazy.
Okay.
Like, there's a long, if you Google it, there's a long list, and you'll be like, yes, I remember that happening.
Yep.
And there's really there's no reason why millions of people remember something that didn't happen.
It's like association or
But it's one of those things that like, we've never talked about that. Like, we were never like, oh, that's Sinbad movie. But like, for whatever reason, it's in your head and it's in mine.
Right. Yeah, it's odd.
And no one can explain why. So anyways, I've been Mandela affected myself. I don't know if this is a popular one yet. I've Googled it, trying to figure, but what I found was I've been Mandela affected.
Okay.
There's a girl actress. Unique look to her. She played in The Queen's Gambit.
Yeah.
She played in...
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Played in Peaky Blinders for a minute. What's her name?
I have no idea.
Like, when this girl came on the scene, I was like mildly like a little, because I was like, this is just a unique looking individual.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I was like looking up all the different things she might have been in. Like, I wanted to watch other stuff she was in. And I come to find that her name is Anna Taylor-Joy. All of a sudden, a few weeks ago, I start seeing previews for Mad Max Furiosa. And her name is Anya, Anya, Taylor-Joy.
Anya.
And I'm like, I know for certain that, like, I Googled this girl to the nth degree because I was like, who is this, like, kind of hot, weird-looking chick? Like, I did my homework on this girl. I learned every movie she was in. I was like, I got to watch all these because, like, I kind of got a thing going on. I don't know. It's gone now, but I had it going on. But I can swear to you that this girl's name was Anna. A-N-N-A. But I can't find any trace of her being called. I thought it was maybe like a...
So it's now spelled differently, too,
now spelled differently,
okay,
yes.
Right. It's not just an accent or...
I don't even know if they pronounce it differently.
Yeah.
It just says it on the screen, Anya, but there's a Y in it all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And I'm Googling, and I'm like, when did she become Anya? When did she go from Anna to Anya? Like, there has to be a record of this. Like, people in Hollywood do weird shit, you know, or they change a name or, like, whatever. And I'm like, I could see that happen.
Sure.
Like, she's a young actress that's coming into her own, and all of a sudden, like, now she's, like, kind of a A-list or getting to be A-list actress. But no, apparently her name's always been Anya Taylor-Joy. So I've Mandela affected myself.
Yeah. I will never forget her name now.
And when next time you remember it, it might be something different. You might Mandela affect yourself. She might be Annie Taylor-Joy next time.
Yeah, Annie.
So I just it just drives me crazy because like I hardcore Googled this chick.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is Anna Taylor-Joy. And now she's not.
Yeah, you got
And
matrixed.
there's no record of her ever being Anna Taylor-Joy. And I'm like, how is that even possible?
There was a correction in the Matrix.
I'm like, I'm a pretty like attention to details kind of guy.
Yeah.
Like I don't miss letters and things. So I'm like, how did I not like Anya is a very different name than Anna. Mm-hmm. I mean, Anya implies like different ethnicities and things. You know,
right.
like maybe she's Russian or something.
Yep.
Like a person like Anna, you could just be stone cold white American.
Right.
I can't explain how I missed that.
You're completely baffled.
And it's driving me batshit crazy. So that's what I'm guessed about right now is the Mandela effect. So if anyone else has experienced the Anna Taylor-Joy, Anya Taylor-Joy Mandela effect,
put it on the hot take hotline.
Call out. Let me know how pissed off you are too. That this girl went from being in whatever the menu or the diner or whatever she was in to Furiosa, and now she's Anya. Got me so.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
I hate it. It drives me insane, and especially the fact that there's just no scientific explanation for why this happens. Why we remember things differently. I guess like the Mandela effect, named after Nelson Mandela, that he like died, but like then he didn't die. He's like
people just thought he was dead.
Like, apparently they thought he was dead. Everybody's like, oh yeah, Nelson Mandela died during apartheid or whatever. Like,
I think he was just in prison or something.
But he's just there.
Yeah.
So, anyway, let me remind you to call the Burning River Sportscast Hot Take Hotline.
Hot Take Hotline.
Don't forget to call and leave your hot takes on the Hot Take Hotline. Remember, these are hot takes. We want hot takes, hot takes, hot takes, hot takes. Anna Taylor-Joy hot takes. 330-227-8080.
330-227-8080.
And be sure to check out our gear, www.thetapinmedia.com/shop. That'll do it for us. Is that the end of the show? Are we done?
I think that's it.
Did we make it all the way through?
Ronnie, is this it?
We didn't forget anything? I think we've made it all the way through. I'm just double checking because I want to make sure we didn't miss anything. Felt like that time went fast.
I think it'll go back pretty quickly.
Okay, well, anyway, that'll do it for us. What do we expect next week? Kenny, that's me. Ronnie Jams will be back. We will recap the Week 1 beatdown of the Cowboys, as our friends in Dallas call them, the Cowgirls. Week 2 preview for the game against the Jaguars. Another Browns backer interview this time. We will talk to our good friends in Punta Gorda. And excuse me.
Oh, yeah, let it out.
That was embarrassing. And then that's why I'm not on the real radio. And then we'll be revealing some exciting changes in our programming and the format of our show moving forward. We have some excellent, fun things in the works to create even greater engagement with all of our friends at the Burning River Sportscast. Again, don't forget to check out our social media pages, Tappa Media. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
At the Tappan Media.
Twitter shouldn't be. Oh, that's it. I don't normally do this part. Ronnie does it. Sorry. Let me start over. Don't forget to check out our social media pages at Tappin Media. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Tappin Media. Burning River Sportscast is on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Burning River Sportscast, but on X, Twitter, at Burning River Pod. That's where I was hung up. And where do we find the podcast? Again, wherever you get your podcasts: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Pocket Cast, Castro, Good Pods, and so many more. And what does it take us to? Facts for Days. So we do have some facts for days, and since it is opening weekend in the NFL, we have some NFL facts. Number one, since the NFL's creation in August of 1920, one team has been with the league longer than everyone else. Do you know who that team is? The longest running team in the NFL.
The Los Angeles Rams.
You can guess all day. You're not going to get it. It's the Arizona Cardinals. The team started in 1898. They can be traced all the way back to the Morgan Athletic Club 21 years before the NFL's founding. The team has a long history and several relocations and name changes, from Morgan Athletic Club to the Racing Normals, Racing Cardinals, Chicago Cardinals, Card Pit, St. Louis Cardinals, Phoenix Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals. But the one consistent detail about the Cards is their colors, always sporting red, white, and black.
Wow. I never knew that.
As the oldest franchise in the NFL, even before the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed Arizona. I thought that was interesting.
I thought they came about in the 90s.
You think about some of like the teams that you think is like old. You think about like the Packers and like Detroit, some of these other teams that were just.
I was just thinking the Rams have been passed around a bunch of different places. Yeah. I was like, maybe they're passed Raiders, even before.
Yeah. Good call. Number two. This is an interesting one. In the 1982 season, a gentleman by the name of Mark Mosley played for the Washington Redskins at the time. Commanders. He's the first and only time a kicker won the MVP.
Really?
Redskins kicker Mark Mosley won the MVP title after securing his team a place in the Super Bowl. Mosley's clutch field goals cleared the way for the Redskins to the title. What makes this one of the most remarkable NFL facts is that Mosley is the only place kicker in history to win the MVP title and the first special teams player to be nominated at that point.
Wow. What year was this?
During the 1982 season, Mosley broke the NFL record for most consecutive field goals without a miss and went 20 for 21 on field goals, setting a record completion rate of 95.2%.
My mind's blown. I feel like now, though, that's just expected.
It's also of note that during the season, there was some kind of like lockout, holdout.
Okay.
So it kind of like threw everything into a little bit of turmoil.
Yeah.
So they didn't play all the games or something. So that kind of led the way to, hey, like this guy had a special season. We're going to make him the MVP. And they did.
That's neat.
And then number three, this one will blow your balls off.
Can't wait.
Better hold on to them.
They're being held.
We're going to go back to Washington. Doug Williams. Quarterback Doug Williams.
Okay. Never heard of him.
I think he was the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl.
Oh. Sorry, folks.
Has as many Super Bowl touchdown passes in one game as the Denver Broncos franchise.
Huh.
That's right. You've heard that right. Doug Williams' heroic performance in Super Bowl 22, throwing 4 touchdowns in a blowout victory that wrote his name into NFL history. His opponent that fateful day, the Broncos, were making their second Super Bowl appearance in franchise history and their second in succession. In total, the Broncos have reached the Super Bowl 8 times.
Wow.
And have the same number of touchdown passes as Doug Williams hung on them that February afternoon in 1988. Despite boasting 3 Lombardi trophies and a quarterbacks list that includes John Elway and Peyton Manning, it remains one of the most staggering stats in NFL history that the Broncos average 1 touchdown pass every other Super Bowl.
Every other. That's wild.
I mean, that just doesn't even make, like, you're in the Super Bowl 8 times.
Did Peyton go twice with the Broncos?
I think they
got
go twice.
pumped
They got beat once.
by Seattle, right?
Yeah, like 41-7 or
Yeah,
something ridiculous, and they won.
The other time they won.
But right, I think the one they won was like it was rainy, and Peyton Manning was just like at the end of his rope was just. I mean, a guy already had his head taken off back on, and he was beat up that year. He did. He had the surgery. They took his neck out, and put his head back on, and it's just hard to throw the ball after that. But that gentleman, ladies and gentlemen, is Vax for days.
Oh, fantastic rendition, Mr. Thunder.
You got anything to say about that, Bone?
I don't know. We gotta go. Bon appetit.
Bon appetit. Don't be a part of the problem. Be the whole damn problem. And if Ronnie were here, he'd say, only you can prevent river fires. Burning River Sportscast. Burning Rivers. Burning Rivers.
Burning River Sportscast.
The river is burning. The river is burning.
Burning River
Burning,
Sportscast.
burning river. I can't wait to go to New Orleans. New Orleans. New Orleans.
We're coming to New
coming
Orleans.
to New Orleans. We're coming to New Orleans. Burning River Sportscast. Burning River.
It's only 2 months away.
Good night, Cleveland.
Quiet on set. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
Row your boat.
Merrily, 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 life is but a
Merrily, merrily,
Merrily, merrily, merrily, life is but a dream.
Merrily, 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 life is but a dream.
Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. We're like a string quartet.
I now have 2 loves in my life. Big city living and a voodoo woman named Phyllis.
So put your right foot in and take your right foot out, then put your right foot in and shut the hell up because it's not time for the hokey pokey. It's time for the Burning River Sportscast.
Motorboat? You play the motorboat? You motorboat son of a bitch. You old sailor, you.
You know what I was thinking during that interview?
What were you thinking? Nothing, because you don't have thoughts because you're a brainless idiot?
Wow.
My name is Uhtred, son of Uhtred.
By the way, I want my foreskin back.
Women's Guide to Anal Sex, and it was the 2nd edition. Who makes the second edition?
The weather outside is weather.
The other one, the finger eating food fingers.
Oh my God! My ass is full of shit! He's shit everywhere!
Yes.
Ejaculate all over my body and my genitals.
Yes.
Oh no! We suck again!
You don't need fundamentals when you got heart.
and Jesus.
And Jesus.
That's right.
Touchdown.
Number
Anyways.
1.
What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
It's going down. I'm
yelling
yelling timber.
Goddamn jets.
Are we gonna?
You're only in this city.
Should we start a meat podcast of like
the meat pod?
Slow roasted.
The leads are weak. Leads are weak. Fucking leads are weak. You're weak.
That we should send a team of oil core drillers a la Armageddon to Mars to have them access the newly discovered reservoirs of water trapped 7 to 12 miles under the surface that, when released, will cover the entirety of everything on the planet less than a mile high.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what.
Erroneous. Erroneous on both counts. Oh, Lord.
I mean, last year when I won and went home, my wife's pants hit the ground.
Wow.
But damn!
Well, I'm sorry, I hijacked your segment for a second to do some good podcasting.
You know why, mister? Because you drove a Hyundai to get here tonight. I drove an $80,000 BMW. That's my name.
I think we've officially lost all of our more conservative viewers. So I don't think they want to listen any longer.
This is
just happened?
It's Mother Nature.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Where's Logo Girl when you need her?
I desperately want to make love to
It's cheese.
We
girl.
need Cheese Girl now.
Down goes Anderson! Down goes Anderson!
Who's canceled now? Who's canceled now?
Probably me.
You making fun of fat people?
I'm not. Just you.
We're a whole race, basically.
No way. You just finger bang their salad. What?
You first get shocked, and then you get the shocker.
Hey, you like to see homos naked? That's cool, man. Whatever. No.
Most people, like, they're driving along and they're like in between meals. They're like, I'm a little hungry. I'm going to have a granola bar. And he's like, I need a cheeseburger.
Browns fans, come party with Cleveland Browns legends Josh Cribbs, Kevin Mack, and Joe Hayden. True Fan Travel, an official fan experience partner of the Cleveland Browns, is hosting premium trip packages for Browns fans to Las Vegas, New Orleans, Denver, and DC. Everything is taken care of. Flights, hotels, tailgate, game tickets, transportation, food, drinks, everything that's important to Browns fans. Visit TrueFanTravel.com today and reserve your ultimate Browns travel package. That's TrueFanTravel.com.
Today's episode was brought to you by Towpath Bourbon. Made from corn, barley, and just the right amount of rye, this blended straight bourbon whiskey is designed for the real bourbon lover. Intense notes of maple, cinnamon, vanilla, and oats hit you up front. Rich and intense, yet balanced all the way through with a strong and lingering finish. Great by itself or on the rocks, or in Manhattan. Available locally in Northeast Ohio and online in 46 states. Towpath Bourbon.